Alright everyone, we start off today talking about Beijingbiden. His new sub-slogan is America is back again. So I guess the idea is that he got elected, honk honk, and magically everything is better. It was like that news report literally the day of the inauguration. They're like, and Biden came down the ramp of the airplane and the clouds parted and I think it was drizzling and the sun came out a little. Is this a sign like he's some sort of fucking messiah? Now first and foremost, before we get into the video, there will be a pinned comment if you're watching on YouTube with 4 links to other video hosting sites that I use, and you should definitely join me on one or more of them. I will be soon making alt tech exclusives in a more general sense. Right now I make BitChute exclusives each day. So if you're not there, you're not getting the full clanking experience. Right now, I don't have any clanking to do. Actually, yesterday I got sick after having my coffee, and so today, I don't have any energy drinks at the moment, which is sad. So I'm not even caffeinated, but even the thought of coffee right now makes me feel slightly nauseous. So, it's basically fuck it for the meantime. That's happened with foods before. Probably wasn't the coffee's fault. It might have been the goat milk that I had thereafter, but it was the coffee that my body wants to fall. But every millennial right now should be enraged. It's funny because the same sort of people, millennials that were like occupiers and stuff like that and sort of hip to it, very anti-war especially, end of the Bush administration into the Obama admin when he got the Nobel Peace Prize for bombing people, but you paint little rainbow flags on the drones first and people won't complain as much. The idea of America being back again after the Trump administration really is a return to globalistic trade deals, stuff like the TPP, which I guarantee will be revived. Beijingbiden will use necromancy on its corpse, change its name, change a few things around so it's not quite sort of the same, and then he'll pass it in the dead of night and the MSM won't even tell people what's in it. Globalistic trade deals, war. We see Beijingbiden's Pentagon openly fomenting the possibility of joining in on the fun. NATO's planning to have a troop surge in Iraq. And deposit an extra, I think it's 3,600 men in the country. Now, 4,000 men is not necessarily an invasion army, but it's a lot more than a few hundred you've left as an advisory contingency. The idea is, well, we don't want ISIS to come back. Well, if you didn't want ISIS to come back, you should have just kept Trump in charge. Of course, Beijingbiden more soft on such things. But at the same time is definitely going to warmonger, but it's not going to be terrorists that we're fighting. It's going to be just like fucking before with the FSA and stuff. We're going to be arming guerrilla movements. We're going to be arming militants. We know this. Biden was Obama's vice president while all of these things were happening. Fast and furious. You had the AP spying scandal. You had the IRS scandal where Lois Lerner was the fall girl, where really it was made a decision at the higher levels. I bet Obama knew it was going on and had no problem with it. Let me be clear to the leftists out there. Half the groups that were being targeted were progressive groups. Basically anything outside of the lame establishment. They were certain types of conservative groups that leaned more towards the actual ideological right and then actual left-wing movements. Those were the ones getting attacked. Leftists were attacked too. I find it so funny that there will be millennials. They still kind of remember the Iraq War era and Afghanistan and stuff, the older millennials. Certainly I'm a core millennial. I can remember it plain as day, and 9/11 and everything else. All of those policies that were put into place were being peeled back by Trump in many cases, with the exception of some of the surveillance and the gung-ho rhetoric, which I was never a big supporter of. To be clear, I do not support domestic surveillance, and it violates several constitutional amendments. But by and large, the worst aspects of the previous era had been peeled back. Another part was the ACA mandate. A lot of people are they were worried that Trump was going to take their health care away and stuff like that. The only part of the law that people really, really had a problem with was the mandate because it was effectively a tax on the poor. Oh, you can't afford any of the health care plans that are available? 2.5% tax, even if you're poor. It doesn't make any sense. It was a regressive tax situation. That will be restored. Somehow this is winning, according to Joe Biden. Yeah, America is back again. Yes, only if you define America in the post-Reagan sense, though. If you define America as the invasion of Serbia or something like that, or if you the Patriot Act or the invasion of Iraq or any of these things, yeah, America's back. Basically, when someone like Biden says America is back, he's saying America's back at the warmongering table. America's back at the screw the poor table. We're going to give rich people tax cuts, give you welfare breadcrumbs. And don't think that the Republicans and Democrats, for the most part, are fundamentally different in this respect. Basically, it's just like the Democrats come and slap you with the left hand, you turn around, the Republicans slap you with their right. That's basically the difference now, isn't it? It's a letter after their name. These people all party together. These people all hang out together. They go to like comedy clubs and shit like that, and in private life are certainly not particularly hostile for the most part. There are exceptions, like Donald Trump, maybe Rand Paul or a Bernie Sanders. Other than that, you can forget about it. How many Republicans go and sample the $50 ice cream bars from Pelosi's $20,000 refrigerators and freezers? I wonder. America's back again. Millennials, dude, that very term coming from Beijingbiden should set off so many alarm bells in the millennial mind. It's preposterous that so many of them cling to this bullshit support for people like Obama and Biden. They lied to you over and over again. Gitmo's still open, by the way. It's bigger than it was when it was claimed it was going to be closed way back in the wee hours of the 2010s. It's still there. We've still got people in Iraq. We've still got people in Afghanistan, although they've been largely drawn down. About the only theater that we shouldn't have drawn down in is Somalia, because then we're fighting piracy as well as Al-Shabaab. I have no problem with that. We've been explicitly asked by them and the Kenyan governments to help. But there's no reason. If Iraq's not stable now, after almost 2 decades, what the fuck are more troops going to do? And if all of these incremental taxes are going to help the poor, then why isn't it that all of those incremental new taxes since the 1980s haven't helped the poor? And if you're worried about stimulate the economy, we need stimulus checks, why don't you just lower the tax rate? That would if putting more money in people's pockets stimulates the economy because people buy and get the things that they need, I would think that it would be best to just keep stimulating it permanently. Why don't we just have almost no taxes? Why don't we just tear apart 90% of the functions of government and realize that they're easier to deal with if they don't exist, if they exist on the state level, or if they're privatized? That's what we should be doing. But that would be considered extremism. The idea of you having the lion's share of your own productive wealth, the idea of not bombing third world people all the time, the idea that the government is primarily there to represent our interests and not to represent the world at large, is considered a form of extremism by some of these people now. I can tell you exactly what America's back again means. It's certainly not going to be making America great again. We're back! Yeah, okay, yay! I'm sure that all of the Iraqi children will love to hear that. Biden's going to have a big poster. He's going to have drones toting a flag across the Middle East. America's back! And then they'll have a little frowny face because they know what comes next is an army of drones bombing them. That's about all. Peace out.